Hi, everyone. Welcome to Living and Learning in the Kitchen, virtual edition. Happy summer, everyone. Welcome. I guess July's almost over, but we're here to talk about some of the fun things we can do this summer with our food, with our kids, and just learning about good nutrition. And also, yeah, we're going to do some fun things about planning picnics, staying hydrated. Before we get started, though, I'd like to just thank all of our funders. We have many funders that make these programs possible and all of our food security possible as well. So without them, I wouldn't be here and we wouldn't have the support. So we're very grateful for that. Okay, so let's get started. So we've had some very hot days lately, so it's really important to stay hydrated. So on these hot summer days, getting dehydrated makes you feel more tired, lethargic, and it can be very dangerous for little people and older people. So we want to minimize those risks. So infants, children, and older adults are more at risk, but we're mostly made up of water, right? So we need to have water in our diets so that we can feel our very best. So you want to make sure you drink enough water every day, especially when you're outside in the sun or exercising, then you need extra. So it's really important to try and calculate that. Most people need about 8 to 10 cups a day. Obviously, children, it's less than that. But how to figure it out is you want to drink half your body weight in ounces. So say you weigh 100 pounds, then you would need to drink 50 ounces, and then there's 8 ounces in a cup. So you would divide 50 into 8. So 6 8s are 48, so about 6 cups a day. But really, I think it's about listening to your body as well. So if you're thirsty, that means you're already dehydrated. So, every little while, I would take some sips of water, and if you're feeling thirsty, drink more. We don't need to complicate it, but just a very important thing to do. And we can make our water fun. So, and it's a great way to get extra minerals. So putting, say, cucumber or lemons or oranges, berries, watermelon, you can see different infused water here. And that just gives it a little bit of flavor. Some people don't like the taste of water. So just trying to, make it fun for kids too, or for yourself. It makes it look pretty. Put it in a jar, drink it from that. And also coconut water is also a good way to stay hydrated because it has a lot of minerals and that kind of thing to help, get the water into our cells. So super great way to stay hydrated. But here's a different recipe, something fun to do with the kids. Some of my kids, I know, we love to make lemonade stands, which they love to do. And it doesn't have to be complicated, but this recipe is super easy. It's 1.5 cups of freshly squeezed lemons, 5 cups of cold water, 1.5 cups of sugar, and 2 lemons for garnish. So you can slice them up and put them either inside or on the side of the jug. So you want to combine your lemon juice and water and sugar into the pitcher. Stir until the sugar is completely dissolved, and then add your ice and lemon to garnish. So really easy way to do it, but super fun for the kids. Now, here's a passion tea lemonade. I know at Starbucks you can get these, and they're quite expensive for what you get, but I've got a recipe that you can try. It's you need to buy the Tazo passion tea bags, and you need 5 of those. So I think with every container you get probably I think you get at least 2.5 times that. So you could make this many times. So you do your 5 tea bags, your 5 cups of boiling water, and you'll need a pitcher that's quite large. And then you'll need a liter of lemonade. You could make your own lemonade and do it that way, or you can purchase a liter of lemonade as well. You need lemon slices and some ice. So what you want to do is boil your water, and you need the 5 cups. And then in a pitcher, put your water in your passion tea bags. Let it steep for about 20 minutes and give it a stir. Then you want to add your lemonade and then put it in the fridge until it's cold. And then you can add lemon slices. You could add strawberries if you like. And then you want to serve it over ice. And it makes about 9 cups. Excuse me. So that's about under 50 cents a cup. So I think, usually you pay $5 to $6 for a large passion tea lemonade, but super yummy. Passion tea is very good for you, really good for your hormones. It's got good minerals, and it's just a fun way to, I don't know, zhuzh up your drink. Yeah, so give it a try. Let me know how it goes. So in the summer, it's really fun to get outside with your kids, get to the park. So I just wanted to give some little tips on making a picnic and making it fun. So picnics, kids, these are the memories we want to share with our kids and have fun times together. So making them fun and involving them in the planning or in the execution of your picnic. So you want to make some favorite foods, make the finger food friendly, so that if they're, you don't want them to be running around eating because that's a choking hazard, but having finger food so they can sit and do it themselves, and have that freedom. You want to get creative, make it fun, add foods with color and texture and variety, different shaped foods. They just love that. In the picture on the left, there's just, and we'll talk about the caterpillar sandwiches more, but just, making things appealing to the eye. And that's where our digestion starts, right? So if you see something that looks good, you start salivating, and that's exactly when you haven't even eaten anything, but you're eating with your eyes. So you're seeing, your digestion starts in your mouth, or in your nose actually, but in your mouth. So you want your kids to, love what they see, and it's not always possible with every meal, but if you're having a picnic, you want it to be something that they remember having. But let your kids help you put it together and pack it up and build that excitement. Give them age-appropriate tasks. Obviously, if you're wanting to cut up vegetables, they need to be older and supervised and all the things. But little ones can put, a cooler pack in a bag, that kind of thing. You want to maybe have your child bring their favorite doll or bear or, Hot Wheels toy, whatever it is, so that they, have that along with them. Bring some bubbles if you can. These aren't necessary things. These are just suggestions too. So no pressure at all. And, sometimes with kids, you don't need the fancy things. They like the box or the package that something comes in. So, take that pressure off as well. And then maybe you could create a game to find an object, or finding things in the surrounding areas. Like give them a job, like go find a leaf or a feather or a rock or a stick. Things that, give them a little bit of a treasure hunt so they can find things. You could play I Spy with little ones. They love to play I Spy. A great way to give language to objects and things in nature. And, if they're really little, then you can walk around with them and name things like this is a tree and that's a bird or a goose or a duck. Things like that, just to build their language. Choose a location where play is possible. So a park with a playground or a field or a splash pad or a beach. Just be mindful that, they need that supervision time as well. And yeah, so some things to pack for your picnic. Obviously if you have a picnic basket or a cooler, pack a blanket or a towel. Somewhere you can sit, something you can sit on, or if you have chairs, that's great. Think of things like bug spray, your hat and sunglasses, sunscreen, an umbrella if you have or need. Some parks have all that, so that's always great, less to pack. Think of things like Band-Aids or baby wipes, disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizer if you use that. And then bring lots of drinks, plenty of water. food like sandwiches, wraps, or fruit or fruit skewers, veggies, and then napkins or tissues if you need those as well. So just a little packing tips. So this is just we had a summer student a few years ago, and she created a little sandwich recipe, and we just created this beautiful platter with the caterpillar has a bit of a big head with the tomato, but just some ways to show you how to make things fun. And we also loved the Hungry Caterpillar book as well. So that's a fun book if you don't have it, to maybe check the library. It's a really cute one to read. So this is our caterpillar sandwich recipe. So you need about 8 to 12 slices of bread, depending on your family size. Things you can put inside, you could use turkey or ham, or cheese, if cheese and cream cheese with cheese. If you're a vegetarian, you could put things like tomatoes, cucumbers, that kind of thing. But these are just the ingredients you'll need. Just to put this together as well, you'll need the tomatoes, cucumbers, and some toothpicks, a cookie cutter if you have. You could do it in different shapes. You could have a circle or a flower. You could even do it in heart shape, but it really doesn't matter. So to make the sandwiches, to give that extra, I don't know, fancy look, you could use white and whole wheat bread. You could use all of one kind if that's all you have, that's no problem. And then you want to use your turkey, ham, and cheese, or just one of those things. If you're vegetarian, just use cheese. You could also do peanut butter and jam. Obviously, if there's a nut allergy, you would use sun butter. Or if you're dairy free, there's some cheese options like Daiya cheese that could work as well. You'll obviously know that if you're dairy free. So use your cookie cutter and punch out the shapes on your bread. And obviously, if there's someone in the family that loves to eat crusts, bring those too, because just to avoid the wasting. I don't know about you, but I usually ate the crusts of my kids' sandwiches when they were little. Yeah, so you want to lay the sandwiches in an S shape, alternating the white and whole wheat bread just for extra, make it look fancy. And you can use toothpicks to connect the cutouts. Obviously, if you have little ones, you want to be mindful of those toothpicks, make sure they don't get a hold of them. Be in charge of the divvying out the sandwiches afterwards. So place the tomato at one end for the head, and then cut the cucumbers in. So cut them in circles and then cut them in half again to make the legs. So you can see in the picture, every so often you put the cucumbers along as their legs, and then you can add little cheese pieces or little raisins for the eyes, and then little antenna. So cut them into little stick shapes and make an antenna for the antennas. So yeah, give that a try, and I'd love to see pictures if you're wanting to share. Here's just a diagram of all the steps if you want to take a picture of that. It's not showing up so great, but hopefully on the presentation here it shows up better. It just shows all the steps for you to make it. And then, if you've got little toddlers and they like to graze, this doesn't have to be at a picnic, but even in the house, putting little bits of different options, like some fruit and some vegetables, some cheese, some little slices of things. They really love to use their pincer grip, and that's really good for them, for their development, to be able to use that. So being able to pick things up. Obviously be mindful of choking hazards. So like if there's blueberries that are a little bit hard, just give them a little bit of a squish and put them in their hands. You obviously know your child, but just be mindful of the choking risks of, what size you're cutting up. There's also some great little things you can put on skewers. So you could put little sandwiches, kind of like with the caterpillar. You could have different shapes and make different shaped sandwiches and put them on skewers. Skewers come with a bit of a sharp end, so what you can do is just use some scissors and cut that part off so that they don't accidentally poke themselves. And obviously, if you have, small kids, you want to be, well, you always should be monitoring them when they're eating so that, just in case they get something stuck in their throat, heaven forbid, or, that what the utensils they're using aren't sharp. So different things you can put on skewers, you can put your fruit, you can put vegetables, you could even do little mini pancakes. Let's see, little chunks of meat or cheese, little waffles, whatever you have, or a little, say instead of a cake, you can have little chunks of cake with some cream and some strawberries. Here's some other options as well. See the mini pancakes, those are cute, or little, multiple level sandwiches, different meats, cucumber, and different kinds of cheese, grapes. Obviously, with grapes, you want to cut them in quarters if you have little ones, just to prevent the choking. And then, all those things are great, but a really great way to get kids to eat the rainbow or eat a variety of fruits and vegetables is to give them a dip. So this is a fruit dip. It's a very quick one. So you can use a cup of plain Greek yogurt, which is great because it's usually high in protein and quite sustaining. So if you're having fruit with, natural sugar, having that protein will help balance the blood sugar highs. So it's 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a tablespoon of maple syrup, and a half a teaspoon of lemon zest only. So just using the grater, and you can grate on the smaller section of the grater, and that's how you zest the lemon. And so it just gets a little bit more lemony flavor. If you don't like that, just take that part out. Put all of the ingredients in a bowl and whip them all together with a fork or a whisk until it's really well combined. And, have a taste and see, with any recipe, have a taste if you want more of something or less of, obviously you can't do less, but, you can add different things to change the flavor a little bit. So use your taste buds to figure that out. And then you can pop it in the fridge to keep it cool, and then serve it in a small bowl with your chopped up fruit. Also keeping in mind that, that the size of the fruit for your child or children. So we're just going to move on to just some nutrition facts on lettuce, because right now there's a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables out, and lettuce is one of the ones that for making salads and things like that is a really beneficial plant to eat. So an interesting fact, a lettuce is an annual plant of the daisy family. I don't know if any of you knew that, but yeah, I didn't know that before. So lettuce has a lot of nutrition in it, even though it doesn't seem like it should, but it contains a lot of water. It helps lower your high blood pressure, helps with bone health because of all the minerals that are in it. Has a lot of vitamins like vitamin K, vitamin A, C, and folate. Folate is very good for when you're pregnant, to prevent spina bifida. But all of the nutrients that we get in fruits and vegetables is important. So it has minerals like manganese, potassium, iron, and calcium. It helps with inflammation in the body. So any disease that we have, it starts with inflammation. So the more we can have, fresh fruits and vegetables, the better our inflammatory markers are. Helps, eating fresh things helps lift your mood. I think it's really important to, when you're eating things, take a notice of how you feel afterwards. So, I always find when I eat salads or, things that come from the garden and in nature, I feel better when I eat them as opposed to things that come out of a package. So I digress. Sorry, I squirrel a lot. So the benefits of having lettuce, helps your skin feel revitalized, gives you nutrition, helps to remove toxins from your body, prevents, it stimulates hair growth, prevents it from falling out, helps with your iron levels, helps with better sleep, and helps your heart be healthier. I mean, some of these things I don't always agree with, but yeah, definitely the more fresh things you eat, the better you feel. So in summertime, it's really fun to, if you're doing a picnic or, preparing for, if you're working, things like salads in a jar are really great to make, to have on hand just to grab. If you're a busy mom or you're going to work or you're in school, whatever you're doing or going on a picnic, taking the time to make things like salads in a jar. It can be very inexpensive, because I don't know about you, but at the grocery store, buying a salad used to be quite a reasonable thing, but now they're getting very expensive. So just, to help save money, and you're chopping stuff up anyway, so you might as well make a bunch of them and pop them in the fridge, and you can do different dressings. But, for work, for me, I like to prep on a Sunday, and it's great to, at least have 2 or 3 done for the week. You could have all 5, or you can just do it for the family for one day for a picnic, whatever you're doing. It's just a very cost-effective, more convenient way. I mean, it takes a bit of time to do it, but it really does help later on. So, you get hungry and you want to, if you're really hungry and you just want to grab something quick, if you have them already made, they're there for you, and you just feel better. I don't know. But everyone has different tastes, so take it for what it is. But yeah, it does save you money, helps you to eat healthier, because, at least if you're filling up with something healthy and you still have that sweet tooth, you can have something sweet, but you've already had something that's very healthy, and just helps to balance. I like the 80-20 rule, 80% healthy, and then 20% you get a little room to play within reason. Yeah, but I mean, you get to have look at this picture. There's so much color and flavor, and it's just convenient. And like I said, you can have different kinds of salads. You can put different things in. You put your lettuce and your cucumbers and all the things, but you could put different ingredients, and switch those up. Like one day you might do chickpeas, another day black beans, or you might do like a Tex-Mex flavor in one, and like a Chinese sort of flavor, teriyaki kind of flavor one, or a ranch flavor, or whatever dressing you like. There's different dressing recipes. You can, if you're at a time crunch, you can use the dressings that you have on hand as well. So you don't need to purchase a lot of ingredients. It's amazing how quickly these jars fill up, and then you only need a little bit of everything to make a great salad. And they're easy to clean too. So once you've, had them, you just give them a rinse, either wash them out in the sink or put them in the dishwasher. So the cleanup is very quick, and kids love them. So, you can have a jar or 2 for your kids, and they can put what they want in it. So super fun, and it gets them engaged in eating healthier as well. And so let's look at how we do that. So how to layer your mason jar. So firstly, you want a wide mouth mason jar. The narrow one's very hard to eat out of, and you could technically have a bowl and pour it into the bowl. That works as well. So you want to keep your salad, especially your greens, fresh. So those are the ones that go on the top. So firstly, the dressing always goes on the bottom, as you can see in the picture. And then and then grains and proteins, like if you're using quinoa or rice or pasta, edamame or chicken or anything that's large and chunky goes in next. And then that helps keep the dressing separate from the other top layers. And then anything else except leafy greens goes next, and then the leafy greens is last on top. So you know, the things in the middle could be nuts and seeds, or, you know, cucumbers and tomatoes, things like that, or onions. Those things can go sort of in the middle. So, and then let's see, how do we eat the salad you can eat from the mason jar. So some people eat it straight from the mason jar. A few minutes before eating, you want to tip the jar upside down so that the dressing's now at the top and, you know, mixing through everything. And then right before you eat the salad, give it a really good shake and then take the lid off and enjoy. If you've packed your salad nice and tight, this might not work, so you can pour it into a bowl, like I said, and then just give it a quick stir to combine. And then, like I said, if your little one wants to have one too, you can buy smaller jars. You know, as an adult, you might want the bigger jars, but you can buy all of the different sizes in the wide mouth mason jar. So here's a recipe. It's a chickpea mason jar salad. So it's a half a cup of chickpeas, a half of cucumber sliced, half a cup of red peppers diced, however you like it. You could have them longer, but they're easier to eat when they're diced. A half a cup of tomatoes diced, or you can use the little, like the little mini tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and then a quarter of a cup of chopped or grated carrots. I find, especially for kids, the grated carrots are easier to eat. But depends on how you chop. You can add in a quarter of a cup of olives. I put Kalamata, but there's other olives if you prefer, like the green ones. Half a cup of feta cheese or your cheese of choice. You really can make this your own. Half a cup of romaine lettuce, but if you have butter lettuce or whatever kind of lettuce, use that. 1 to 2 tablespoons of nuts and seeds. So just add like things like pecans, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, hemp hearts. Yeah, those are all great ways to add fiber, add protein to your meal, and just add that extra crunch. Obviously, be mindful of nut allergies of people around you. So if there is a nut allergy, maybe just do the seeds. So the dressing is 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, and salt and pepper to taste. So a very easy dressing. And like I say, you could add your cheese alternatives. If you're dairy-free, use your Daiya cheese or whatever cheese you can find. And yeah, super easy recipe. But if you like to go on Pinterest, there's so many different recipes, or even Google. Like if you want to Google. And I say this for anything. If you have certain things in your fridge that you're trying to figure out how to get rid of, just Google, put in the ingredients and just put recipes or salad jar recipes or whatever kind of recipe for these ingredients, and you'll get some options. And then from there, you can choose what you want to make. Yeah, so give that a try and let me know how it goes. And I love to see pictures, so please share with me. And then this is a Greek salad recipe, but you could put this in a jar as well. So this has got your romaine lettuce, your tomatoes, English cucumber, just pretty much all the things we just talked about. Some feta cheese, about a cup, some red onion, but if you don't like red onion, you could change it for green onion or take the onion out completely. And this also calls for 1.5 cups of slightly crushed pita chips. That can be optional. And then your Kalamata or whatever olives you like. So you just want to arrange everything in a bowl, and just before serving, add your dressing. So the dressing, another easy recipe, 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of your lemon zest, a 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice, 3 tablespoons of feta crumbled, a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, and a garlic clove. And you could also, if you don't like the fresh garlic, although that is better for us, you could use the garlic powder. So you would just use like 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then it also calls for 2 teaspoons of dried oregano and salt and pepper to taste. So you want to combine that all together. You could put it in a blender. Obviously, if you're using the feta, crumbled feta, it will be lumpy if you don't blend it. But obviously, you could make it lumpy. It's a salad anyway. You're going to be chewing through it. But take a picture of any of these recipes. I'm not going to necessarily go through all of them. I'm just giving you some suggestions. But like I say, if there's a plethora of fresh ingredients out right now in the summertime, and it's a great way to get all those nutrients in. So, if you're at a farmer's market or at the store and you see all these good ingredients, buy things with intention, I guess, to get your money's worth. But like I say, if you're sort of lost as to what to do with it, use Google or Pinterest. There's so many recipes out there. I would love to just give you hundreds of recipes, but with time in mind, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but also give some inspiration and some thoughts as to things that you can do. That's what I love to do. And also, if you're watching this and there's things that you want to learn, you can let me know as well, because I like to add that to our programming every month. Just create content that is helpful for you. So I was speaking about dressings before with picnics and dipping fruit. So this is a nice Greek yogurt ranch dressing, which is nice and light and not too spicy for kids. So if you're wanting to get more vegetables in, kids love to dip. So providing our job as parents is to provide the food for them to eat, and it is the job, so that's your job, and then it's the job of the kids to eat what they want to eat. And that can be sometimes a bit hard for us as parents because we want them to be healthy and that kind of thing, but we really don't want to get into fighting over food, because that just creates negativity around it. But having things like dips and the opportunity to put healthy things in their mouth, this is our job as parents, is to provide those opportunities. So hence why we're here talking about recipes. So excuse me, this Greek yogurt ranch dressing is a cup of plain Greek yogurt, and you can buy the Greek yogurt that has a higher in protein, which is great because even if your child isn't eating a lot of meat, say, or legumes and getting as much protein, this is a way to do it. You can also add the Greek yogurt to a smoothie and add in some different options of fruit and vegetables into the smoothie as well. So yeah, anyway, I digress. And then it's a half a cup of buttermilk. So buttermilk, if you don't have access to it, you can make it yourself. So for a half a cup of buttermilk, you can use a half a teaspoon. You can use half a cup of regular milk, sorry, and then use like a half a teaspoon of, say, you can use lemon juice or vinegar, like a white vinegar or a apple cider vinegar, or half a teaspoon of lemon juice to create the buttermilk. So that takes a little bit of time. So you put it in a cup and then add your acidic thing like your lemon juice or your vinegar and let it sit for 15 minutes. And then it's ready to go into the recipe. And then this recipe also calls for a tablespoon of lemon juice, your onion, garlic powder, all of your things like black pepper, salt. Doesn't have to be kosher unless you're Jewish. Chopped parsley or a teaspoon of dried parsley if you don't have the fresh on hand. So it's a tablespoon of chopped fresh or a teaspoon of dried. The same thing for if you want to use fresh chives, or you can use dried, a teaspoon of those, and then a tablespoon of fresh dill, or you can use dried as well. Sometimes we don't have those things on hand. So you want to place the yogurt, the buttermilk, lemon juice, your powders, your herbs into a bowl and whisk them to combine. And then you can put them in a food processor or use a handheld blender and pulse until it's completely combined. It'll have a little bit of a green tint to it if it's processed as opposed to just whisked. So you can do it either way. I don't know about you, but my kids didn't really love green things. So see how that goes. In which case blending might be better. And then serve it, or you can use it as a salad dressing as well. And you can store it in an airtight container for up to 1 week. So, you can use it for multiple things, which is great. Which I love recipes like that because it has dual purpose or multiple purpose. And I think I've shared this recipe before, but it's a nice summary recipe. You have a lot of, the new potatoes, like the mini potatoes out. Um, so, you only need to cut those in half for this recipe, or you can use the larger potatoes. So it calls for Yukon Gold potatoes, Greek olives, and then bone-in chicken thighs. You could also use regular chicken thighs that are boneless. The cooking time will be less. It's got olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, salt, oregano, pepper, and then your chicken broth. So you want to preheat your oven to 375 Fahrenheit, scrub your potatoes, and then cut them into wedges. And like I said, if you're using the smaller ones, you can get red ones, you can get the yellow ones. It doesn't really matter. You can use whatever you have on hand. And pop them in a shallow roasting pan, top it with your olives and your chicken. And then in a small bowl, whisk up your herbs and your lemon juice and oil, and then drizzle that over the chicken and potatoes and pour your chicken broth around the chicken into the pan. And then it takes about 60 to 70 minutes if you have the bone-in chicken. And bone-in, it really does make a difference because it makes it more juicy, but it just does take a bit longer to cook. And you want to, if you have a food thermometer, for a meat thermometer, just make sure the chicken reads 170 to 175. 165 is kind of the minimum of what for food safety, but it's better to excuse me, have a little bit more. And then as it comes out of the oven, letting it rest also will bring up the temperature as well. And here's a really yummy potato salad recipe. So, if you're doing, skewers or anything like separate and you need a dish that's nice and cool for the summer temperatures, a tzatziki potato salad is really yummy. You can take a picture of this. I'm not going to talk through too much because I just want to be mindful of the time for you all. But it's a really yummy potato salad recipe. You can also add in things like, fresh peas from pea pods, if you like that kind of thing, or if your kids like peas. But yeah, it seems like a yummy recipe to pair with some of the other recipes here. And this is like a kid-friendly rice recipe where it's got a little bit of everything, and that's why it's called confetti. So it's a cup of jasmine rice, yellow squash, or you could use use the vegetables your children like, but this one calls for yellow squash diced, zucchini diced. So all those vegetables are in season right now. Red bell pepper, making it colorful and, getting kids used to different textures and things like that. Now, that's sometimes a challenge. I get it. I had children that didn't love textures either, and it takes time and a bit of persistence, but eventually you keep offering it, eventually they will like it. This also has whole kernel corn, fresh chives and cracked pepper. Chives, if they don't love the green things, you could leave them out. They're optional. So this is a really good recipe. Take a picture of this one too. It's just, something worth a try. These are just suggestions and ideas, but you get a lot more nutrition than just rice and one vegetable. You get a little bit of color and just helps to expose them to different flavors and things like that. The next recipe is an easy fajita foil packet. So this is kind of fun for summer as well. If you have a barbecue, it can be done on the barbecue or campfire if you're camping, and also in the oven. So the instructions are at the bottom, but you know, you want to mix everything together. So you've got your chicken breasts. Obviously, you could make them beef as well, if you had, you know, slices of beef on hand, or you know, you don't even have to do the meat. You could just do the vegetables. So there's chicken in this recipe, bell peppers. So you could use different colors. So you could use a yellow or a red, an orange, or you could even use a green, whatever color peppers you like. A large onion, could be a regular onion or a red onion, and then 1.5 tablespoons of fajita seasoning, and salt. And then you just pop them into, once everything's coated, you've mixed all the ingredients in a bowl. You can use 2 aluminum sheets of aluminum foil, and then fold the edges up around to close the foil packet. And you may have to double wrap it too. Sometimes the juices leak and you get flames and all the things. And if you're doing it in an oven, you want to put, you know, something underneath so you don't have any juice in your oven and burning, which isn't fun to clean up. Yeah, so give that a try. You could pair this with just plain rice, or you could do the dish that I just showed you with the confetti rice. You could make it with make it into wraps. Lots of ways to do this. But you know, choose what you like for your family, what your children like, and what you like. And this is just another kid-friendly homemade chicken nugget recipe for kids. I mean, sometimes it's easier to buy it at the store, but I don't know about you, but there's a lot of fillers and things, that preservatives and things that, you know, our kids don't really need to have in their bodies. But, you know, I get it. Sometimes convenience wins, but you know, if ever there's something that they want to help make, just to see how much work goes into making meals, this is a great one for them to learn, right? And it also builds help later on when they get older, hopefully. So this is 2 pounds of chicken breast. You could have this recipe even if you wanted. Chicken breasts or tenderloins, 2 cups of breadcrumbs. You could use flour, almond flour, or cornmeal as well. Those are some options. If you're gluten-free, you can use gluten-free breadcrumbs or panko. And then it calls for 2 eggs, salt, garlic powder, which is optional, and butter. So you want to beat your eggs together in a bowl. In your second bowl, mix together your dry ingredients like your breadcrumbs or flour, salt, and garlic powder. So all your powdery dry ingredients. Cut your chicken into small pieces. Cover the chicken with plastic wrap, and if you have a pound, like a mallet or a hammer, a kitchen hammer, you can pound the chicken until it's thin. That makes it picky eater friendly. And then you want to heat your skillet on medium heat and let the butter melt, and then dip your chicken into the egg mix and then into the breadcrumbs or flour mixture, and then place your breaded chicken in the pan and cook until lightly brown on both sides. So approximately 15 minutes. And just, you know, test the inside if it's no longer pink, or you can use a meat thermometer as well. So yeah, just, you know, a few kid-friendly recipes just to help help with meal times. So you could serve these with oven-baked fries, or with some pasta, or the rice dish that I shared. Yeah, so give that a whirl, or even just vegetables and dip, and a bread roll or something like that. Like just easy summery meals that don't require too much fuss. So at the moment, there's quite a few strawberries out, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about those and share some strawberry-friendly recipes. So did you know that strawberries are an edible fruit that grows on plants in the rose family, Rosacea family? It's a hybrid species, and its origins lie in France. And the first strawberries were bred in the early 18th century, so they've been around a long time. The average strawberry has over 200 seeds. That's pretty cool. So strawberries They're delicious, especially when they're fresh. They contain a lot of antioxidants and plant compounds that are also anti-inflammatory. I mean, most fruits and vegetables are anti-inflammatory. So because of the way of our world right now, we have a lot of toxins. So the more plants we can eat, the better for our bodies. They also contain vitamin A that helps with your eyesight and protects against cataracts. Most of you are young, so don't have to worry about that now, but later on it's better to, prevention is better than waiting till you're older. Also has vitamin B9, which is folate, perfect for pregnancy, vitamin C, manganese, potassium. All these minerals are so good for us. Helps our bones and our blood health. They're loaded in fiber. They help lower cholesterol and blood pressure, and they're lower in calories. I mean, even though they have natural sugar is so different from processed sugar. And we do need a little bit of sugar in our diets, although not quite as much as we seem to consume these days. They contain water, so most of our fruits and vegetables contain a lot of water, so you're also getting your hydration from there as well. They have anti-cancer properties, and they promote healthier skin. And they're just delicious, especially when, if you can go to a garden, a local garden and take your kids to pick any kind of fruits and vegetables, but strawberry picking is super fun. And then come home and make some recipes with them. I mean, that's just teaching them so many skills. And it's fun, outing, and you get to eat the benefits at the end, which is super fun. So this is a strawberry muffin recipe. So if you're, doing that and going on a picnic, these are a great addition to your picnic. Strawberry muffins are delicious. It's a very easy recipe. It's got 2.5 cups of flour, a cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 3/4 of a cup of melted unsalted butter, cooled, 2 large eggs at room temperature. But if you didn't remember, it's not a big deal. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 cups of chopped strawberries divided, and a tablespoon of sugar, which is optional. I think that's just sprinkle on the top. You want to preheat your oven to 375 Fahrenheit. Use your 12 muffin liner muffin pan. I'm not sure if you've seen them, but you can get them at either Canadian Tire. They're on Amazon as well, but they're in Walmart. They're the silicone liners for your muffin tins. I use them a lot. It saves waste, but also they pop out of the muffin liner easier. So, and you can reuse them, you can wash them. So I find they're really great. I use them for my egg bite recipe as well. So you want to stir together your dry ingredients, whisk together your wet ingredients, and then just mix it till mix them together till they're just combined. The batter will be thick. Use a scoop or a spoon to fill your cups 3/4 filled, your muffin cups. And you can top with the remaining 1/4 cup of strawberries and sprinkle a little sugar on top, and that's optional. And bake until the tops are golden brown, and a toothpick's inserted in the center, and it comes out clean. So give those a whirl. They sound super yummy, and I'm starting to get hungry. And here's another strawberry recipe. These are really fun to make with kids too. They get to use their rolling skills. So it's a cup chopped strawberries, about 12 strawberries, 1.5 cups of oats, so good fiber, 1 cup of sunflower seeds, more fiber, half a cup of desiccated coconut, tablespoon of maple syrup. You could use honey if you're using honey, as long as your children are over 1. Otherwise, they can't consume honey. A teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of desiccated coconut just for the coating. So place your strawberries and other ingredients in a food processor or a blender, mix until it becomes a paste and sticks together as a rollable dough. And then refrigerate for about 30 minutes to make it easier to form the balls. and then use a tablespoon to scoop the portions, and then use your hands in a circular motion, rubbing them together. Maybe dampen your hands a little bit so they're not so sticky. Roll each ball. Once it's rolled into a ball, roll them into the coconut. You could use things like hemp hearts instead, but the coconut's really nice with the strawberry. And refrigerate for a couple of hours or overnight before you're serving. And then you can store them about 3 days in the fridge or up to 3 months in the freezer in a baggie or a container. So a really yummy snack for kids and mums and dads. Yeah, so give them a go. Let me know how they go. And another fun recipe that I love to do with my girls is healthy fudgicles. So, I mean, you can buy them at the store, but having fun making them yourself is great. So it's a 13.5 ounce can of full fat coconut milk at room temperature, and then a half a cup of cocoa powder, or cacao powder, a third of a cup of pure maple syrup, and then 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. So add all your ingredients into a blender and blend until smooth, and then pour them into popsicle molds, and then freeze for about 4 hours or overnight. So just a really great way to get good nutrition in. All that stuff is good for you, and then they're also very yummy as well. And then there's a toddler-friendly, like I was talking about earlier about hiding vegetables and things. This is a great way to do it for toddlers as well. So it's, you're making basically a smoothie, but you're hiding in things like spinach. So it's a cup of yogurt of choice. So if you want to buy the higher protein yogurt, the Greek yogurt, that would be great, because then they're also getting that protein, helps sustain their appetite for longer if you get more protein into their diet, which is tricky when you have a toddler. A cup of frozen berries of choice, a half a cup of baby spinach, so you're getting that iron and all the greens in there, a teaspoon of maple syrup or honey, and you need frozen treat molds. So whether you do it in popsicle sticks, or you could make little ice cube trays of this as well. Depends on, what your child likes. So you want to place your spinach, berries, and yogurt in a single serve blender, blend everything together until smooth, and pour into your popsicle molds and freeze overnight. To loosen the molds, run them under warm water for a few seconds, and then that helps loosen the grip they have. Yeah, so and you can use different combinations. If you wanted to use pineapple and make it more of a pineapple or mango, you really can do whatever you like, and make different flavors as well. So it's a really great way to get the nutrition in. If you have a really good blender, adding in things like cucumber, a few chunks of cucumber, it can be helpful. Yeah, I mean, change it up and see what they like as well, because little ones can be picky. And our last recipe, this is not edible, but it's a fun recipe for the summer, and it's for sidewalk chalk paint. So all you need is, it's a very simple recipe. You need cornstarch, water, and food coloring. So, and some bowls, a mixing container, a measuring cup, and some bowls to put the different colors in, and obviously some the food coloring, and paintbrushes so that they can paint on the sidewalk, and all these things you can get at the dollar store, very inexpensive. So you want to add equal parts of cornstarch and water. So, start with a cup of each and see, how much that makes you. Mix the cornstarch and water with a spoon. You'll know it's ready when it looks and feels like milk when you stir it, and there shouldn't be any gritty or lumpy parts. You might need a little bit of a whisk just to get the lumps out. And then you have liquid sidewalk chalk. So then you can pour it into different separate bowls, and then add a couple of drops of your food coloring and mix those in to make your colors. But a really fun way for kids to, get outside, as long as it's not, 30 or 40 degrees out like it's been lately. Pick your times, either early in the morning or later in the day when it cools off, hopefully. And just, have fun, make different shapes and sit down with your kids and paint together and just create some memories. So that is the presentation today. I just have a few questions to confirm that you've seen this this presentation. So I want to just hear from you. If you can, my details are below. You can text me or email. I just want to know, did you learn anything today that was helpful? Was there a recipe that you think you might try? And what are some ideas of things you'd like to learn in the future? Now, I had promised to do also picky eating, and I've run out of time. I was away a little bit, have to confess, but I will do that for August. And our August presentation will be on getting back to routines. So, kids will get back to either daycare or school or play school, or just getting back to routines from the summer in general. So I'll have some recipes for that, some tips and tricks on getting back into those routines, and some, some late summer fall recipes as well. But we'll definitely be talking more in depth of picky eating, and I'll also have some resources to share for that as well. If you're really struggling with that at the moment, please message me. I am a holistic nutritionist and I am here to help. And if you're struggling with recipes, I definitely can help you with that. So please reach out. That's part of my job. I also do the food security packages as well that we send out. So if you have any concerns, let me know. Yeah, and then make sure you follow us on social media. So all of our programming right now is on parentsconnect.ca. We also have, so that's where you can find under events section, you can find what offerings there are for programming. We have many programs now. So check it out, and we have lots of good ones coming up. We also have a website, roseofsharon.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well. So please make sure you check us out, stay up to date with what's happening. And we're here to help, and we love to help. That's our job. So thank you for tuning in today. And please let me know that you've watched this by answering the questions. And I'll see you again next month. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the summer and enjoy some of these good recipes. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.